Yeah. Welcome back to the Health Starts at Home podcast. I am your host, Holly Jean Mullen, and today I am joined by someone who truly embodies what it means to weave wellness into both life and business. I am joined today by Jodi Scott. She is the co-founder of Green Goo, which is a plant-based first aid and skincare company. I'll let her tell you all about it. But what I like is that her little family project turned into this major thing, and her mission never changed. It's all about replacing those chemical quick fixes with plant-based remedies that really work. And she has a background in health and a deep respect for nature's wisdom, and I'm excited to hear her story. So welcome to the show, Jodi.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yeah, I am looking forward to this because I feel like one of the biggest barriers that I hear from women and moms over and over again as to why they don't use more natural products is one, they just don't think they work, or they don't know what to pick, or they're just so used to the brands that they've grown up with. They just don't even think about changing or even understand there's a reason why to change. So let's start first with a little bit about how you got into this line of work and what really inspires you about it.
Well, you nailed all of those obstacles, and it's so true. There's been so much greenwashing products that don't work, sneaky ingredients, and we're just used to what we're used to. And I think that's a great segue into why we started Green Goo. So, my sister's an herbalist and a midwife, and then I was pre med. And my sister, when she was going to herb school, came to my mom and I. So my mom is a self-taught computer programmer, website developer. We grew up in the military and she had to learn to reinvent her career early. So she was one of the early adopters of computer programming. And so my mom, like, I'm in this, I don't know, fifth or sixth grade, and she's like learning to code. So the three of us got together and my sister was like, I think that this practice that I'm learning of making topical therapeutics with plants could be something really special as a replacement to your traditional first aid products. And my daughter was young at the time, and I was starting to recognize something interesting in my own behavior, which was I cared about what I was eating. I had clean ingredients. I was taking vitamins. I was avoiding all the things you should avoid in skincare and also in my food. But if you opened up my first aid cabinet, it was a pure exception. Everything in there was chemicals, one time use products, ingredients I couldn't pronounce, sneaky ingredients. And I thought, that's really interesting. And my mom, being the self-taught computer programmer, was like, hey, I can make the labels. So the three of us just kind of threw this together and thought, well, it'll be fun to go to the farmer's market. We love the farmer's market. Then we can go shopping afterwards. And so one day we're at the farmer's market and we look and we're like, wow, we have the longest line here. And a mom comes up to us and she's crying and her child is crying. And I thought, oh no, what happened? And she's like, I just want to tell you how thankful I am. Our son has been terrified to go to school because his eczema was so bad. And this is the first product that actually has worked and is soothing, and he's happy, he's comfortable, he's confident, he's going to school. Thank you so much. Then we had another family come up, and this individual had had a number of different surgeries and wasn't able to go and do all the bike riding and things that he had historically enjoyed doing. And he's like, I started using your pain relief product. And he's like, I'm doing the things that I love. People are lifting up their shirts, showing us their like weekend gashes from bike riding and so forth. And I said, oh my goodness, like we are seeing that people are really aligning with these products. So then I started looking at the first aid space in general, and I found sort of that mirror reflection of what I was doing, which is the natural consumer was willing to abandon their natural ethos because they were told these chemical laden products were the only products to get the job done. So you just use them. And then I found it even more interesting that the conventional consumer was, I don't care what the ingredients are. I just want something that performs better because I find it really inconvenient that I have to go to the doctor because everything that's available over the counter just doesn't work. And so we saw an opportunity where we could lead with performance first and bring a plant-based solution that is superior in efficacy, brings sustainability, and has all clean ingredients And then we could invite conventional consumers who have been exposed to the greenwashing or don't think natural works and prove to them that natural can work. So Green Goo was born.
I love that. And something you said, like when you brought up the kid with the eczema, I hear so many times in the natural health space, like people, yes, we want stuff topically that will help with those things. But in that natural health space, sometimes there can be a lot of shaming around why the eczema is even there. It's like, it's internal. Everything in your skin is internal. It's like, okay, yes. But while you're doing the things to fix that, we need relief at the skin surface level. So it's amazing when you find something that actually does work.
It's so true, and it is a holistic skincare experience, and it's an opportunity for you, one, to get something that's gonna give you immediate relief, and then you can start exploring other ways that you can grow into this holistic journey. But 100%, chronic skin conditions are at an all-time high, and so many of us are suffering from them from a variety of different reasons, and they're, in our epigenetics, and we're seeing that this is really prolific, and so, we've got a lot to do in the bigger sense of in the general sense, and being able to figure out the root of why, and sometimes you don't have to worry about the why, you can just have a great solution that's actually gonna provide results and not at a compromise where, I mean, oftentimes a lot of these products that are over the counter and available, they just make things worse. They'll give you that temporary feeling of relief, and then suddenly your irritation is worse. There's alcohols, parabens, phthalates, all of these things that just agitate the wound site or the irritated site even more. And so it becomes this vicious cycle. And our product probably goes against the capitalistic, mantra, which is the more you use our product, the less you need it, because it's really nourishing the skin. And something that we did not change when we scaled was, here we were making these products, in our kitchen at the time, and we're growing the herbs ourselves, we're wildcrafting, we're drying them on screen doors in Idaho. On screen doors, drying them, and then taking them through this infusion cycle for a period of time and extracting this beautiful botanical profile. And that's why the herbs and the products work, because we're protecting the integrity of the plant and how the entourage effect happens when you bring certain plants together, where, yarrow can have one, can be a coagulant, and plantain can be an astringent, and then they come together and they increase oxygen, at the wound site to increase the healing. So bringing those plants together is really important. And we tried to find a manufacturer and nobody would do it. And we knew that we had to preserve the integrity of these formulas. And it actually took someone whose son who had eczema, and he used our products, and he just happened to be running a manufacturing facility. And he came to us a week later and said, you know what? We're going to figure out a way to scale this, and we're going to protect this process because people need these products. And Johns Hopkins has been using that formula now for over a decade in their scleroderma and skin condition department. So, yeah, it's been a wild journey bringing this holistic healthcare to so many homes.
I know, that's really cool. And something I think is important to just kind of go back and highlight is like how you explained how you're using the products and the way they are used within their formulas, because I think maybe speaking to people who said they've tried natural things and they don't work, it's because a lot of the manufacturing process uses high heat or really harsh, like extraction type of mechanisms. I don't know, that's not my wheelhouse, but I do understand that the way things are made, once you're doing it in mass quantity, you lose a lot of the quality. Is that kind of what you're saying
100%.
there? Okay.
And you're so right. One, the high heat, you lose the integrity of the plant. Extracts, you lose the potency of the plant. And then oftentimes, let's just say you do have something that, is even an extract where you're getting a fraction of the medicinal properties. The carrier oil could be a petroleum-based, paraben-based formula. And so what that does is it just sits on the surface of your skin. So the oils that we select are very likable to your semi-permeable membrane in your cells. And so they really act as a carrier for these medicinal properties. So they absorb beautifully and create that systemic reaction that you're looking for beyond the epidermal layer. So it's very much nutritional skincare. And it's been very interesting because for so many years we just kind of considered the skin as, oh, it's the largest organ. You take your A&P class and it's just, oh, there's the skin, here are the layers. We're just going to park that over there. And we're starting to understand that our skin does a lot more than just protect our organs. There are layers of neurotransmitters and enzymes that are critical to our longevity and to our homeostasis and health, good health. And so when you think about what we're doing today with the forever chemicals and the phthalates and putting them on our skin, let alone having that wash off into our water system and into our food, into our ecosystem, we're bringing that stuff in systemically. So of course we're having endocrine disruptors. Of course we're having, an imbalance where our cells are oxidating. And so it's really fun when you start thinking about your skin as this nutritional resource, this opportunity where it's like food for your skin and treating it a little differently. And when you do that, your skin also treats you a little differently. And there is something about when you're feeding your skin, like when you eat a healthy meal, you just feel better. Well, when you nourish your skin, I've had so many customers say, yeah, it's great. Like, the irritation is gone, but gosh, I woke up today just feeling really good because they did like a head to toe. We call it a butter up. Put the salve on head to toe, put your bathrobe on, let your skin just drink it up, and you just feel better and lighter the next day.
Yeah, I think people do forget that your skin is such a big part of you. And it's like we have this disconnect where people can understand, okay, well, there's topical things we can put on, or if I put on magnesium oil on my feet at night, I sleep better, or there's transdermal hormones or nicotine patches. Like we understand, hey, you can put
Right.
something on your skin and it'll get into your body. But for some reason, there's like I don't know, the best thing I could say is like a disconnect where it's like this smoke screen where it's like we don't think, "Oh, well, if I'm putting on all this makeup or lotion or whatever, that's also going into my skin and being delivered the same way something medicinal would be."
And I think, to your point, we're just kind of at the cusp of, okay, what not to do, but then taking it a step further and go, well, what else can I do? Like being really curious about the opportunities. And so a perfect example is our deodorant. So great. It's aluminum free. It's got clean ingredients, but something that we wanted to do is again, bring more value. And your underarm, we know, is a very interesting looking tissue. Well, as we love studying transdermal absorption, and your armpit absorbs more than 70% of what you put in your under your armpit. So eliminating these harmful ingredients is critical because it's going straight into your lymphatic system, and it is sort of a carrier to anything harmful, but it also could be a carrier to anything beneficial. So what we did is we started adding more nutritional value to our deodorant and said, well, let's add echinacea, let's add ashwagandha, adaptogens, holy basil, functional mushrooms, vitamin C, ginkgo biloba. And so l- let's make this an opportunity where we're also adding some systemic food for our skin. And it's been really fun to see the shift to when people try this deodorant because again, you try natural deodorant, you have to go through that sort of detox phase. But then when you're adding again vitamin C and echinacea and these other nutritional resources, that whole ecosystem in your armpit changes. It's like drinking up these vitamins, and you no longer have that same detox effect because your body's doing something different. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you kinda just blow my mind. Like, I don't know why I never ever would have thought of putting something beneficial in your armpit,
Right.
but it
And
makes
it's
sense.
yeah, yeah. It
The thing there, so you said something about the detox of your armpits. This comes up all the time, and it's a complaint I hear all the time of people saying, "Natural deodorant doesn't work," or, "I tried a natural deodorant and I smelled worse than I've ever smelled." Do you think you can explain that whole transition period of what happens when you've been using conventional deodorant and switching over to something more natural and why you might smell so bad before it gets better?
Absolutely. I mean, you've been suffocating your sebaceous glands for a very long time so that they don't sweat. And this is a place where there's a lot of activity happening in terms of balancing out your system. So, yes, typically when you transition to a natural deodorant, you're going to have a detox phase. Typically, it's very short lived. But what's interesting, and if you once you relieve yourself from the conventional deodorant that's suffocating your sebaceous glands, and then all of a sudden you free, and it's like, I need to release all of this. You'll also get to know your system better, which is, you know, women, especially during different cycles of menstruating, or if you're perimenopause or stress, you're going to notice you're going to have changes in your body odor based on what you're going through for the month. And when you are more in balance with your vitamins and your intake, and a perfect example like the Green Goo deodorants, which you can switch out, it changes. Like your body's not having to detox in that same degree. And so I really love, great, do the detox, but pay attention to if you find that all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I have body odor again, and I already did the detox. Spend a little time thinking about what's your stress level today. Perhaps you need to bring in more adaptogens. Perhaps you need a good night's sleep. Maybe you're not hydrated enough. There are ways for you to also continue to kind of use your armpit as sort of a gauge of what else your body may need.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know that I can tell a difference in my scent when my diet is off, like when I've been
Mm,
a little too more in the 20% than the
right?
80%. Like I can definitely tell a difference there. Let's back up a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about like how you got into studying herbs and like what your background is there from like the schooling side, because I know you've got some stuff
Sure.
there.
So I have a master's in health psychology and specialized in psychoneuroimmunology. So I was very interested in the mind body medicine and that relationship, and really looking at our health more as an ecosystem. And my sister's actually, she's the herbalist. And what was really great about our, yin and yang, if you will, is that she has the wisdom around which herbs we should be putting together. And then I have the organic chemistry background so that I can help make a stable shelf life, shelf stable formula together. And so she and I really worked together in terms of making all of those products. She is an absolute wizard in terms of understanding, why this one herb does X, Y, and Z and another. And all of our products are registered with the FDA. And it's kind of interesting because the FDA is finally moving the research forward that plants have active ingredients. But we can only call out what those active ingredients are that the FDA has recognized. So, calendula, although the FDA recognizes it as an antiseptic or an astringent, that's all we can say to it. But we know it's antifungal, anti-yeast, antimicrobial. It actually, there's some evidence to show that it produces an enzyme in your epidermal layer that helps stimulate your telomeres that help with longevity, which is super interesting now that we're seeing more of that. And so, we don't get to call out every one of the herbs as active ingredients. We can only do what the FDA says. But what I also love is that you get to see the inactive ingredients, which are also additional plants. And if you look at a traditional first aid product, a lot of times you're only getting what the active ingredients are. And then whatever else just doesn't make the label. So
Right.
who knows what else you're putting on? So you may go, oh, this is great. This is just menthol. I'm just putting on a topical analgesic and it just has menthol. However, there's quite a few other ingredients in there that are red flags.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at your skin as you're talking. Your face looks amazing. I'm
You're
guessing
kind.
you use your own products, yes?
It's all I use, and it's the most low maintenance skincare. I work a lot of hours. I am a mother, and I need low maintenance. I can't even wrap my head around what how many products women get sort of coerced into purchasing, and then the the amount of time it takes to even engage in those products. And I use the Green Goo oil face wash, and then I follow up with our rose serum, and then I seal it with the Green Goo repair, and that is it. And I put the Green Goo repair and the serum next to my nightstand, and I live in Colorado where it's incredibly dry. And that's it. And it really is an anti-aging hack, if you will, just using the simple, clean ingredients. And the aloe in the repair is so hydrating. And there's helichrysum and the rose hip. So the rose hip oil is great for skin elasticity, and that vitamin C serum that you hear a lot of those buzzwords around that maybe have a fraction of that in the formula, if at all. So yes, skin repair is the hack for anti-aging and low maintenance skincare.
Yeah, it really is. And like the better your skin looks, the less need you have to keep putting stuff on it. Like I've never worn foundation, and then here I am now in my 40s and I'm finding myself looking for things that are more covering because I've gone astray from products. But now as I've like gone more to the natural oils and stuff, I'm able to ditch the covering product. So it really is. It's like once your skin is glowing and radiant, you don't have to use so many products to try to cover it up.
It's so true. And then just simplifying and saving money. They say that the average woman spends about $600 a month on skincare products. And that's just Uh, I mean, that's astronomical when you're
Rent in some
considering
places.
makeup. Yeah. And you spend one day in Sephora, like with my daughter.
Right.
I'm like, oh, honey, do that a couple of times. I mean, that's just bananas. And so when we developed Green Goo, the mission to outside of just plant-based clean ingredients was let's clean out our cabinets. My mom used to have so many skincare products growing up, and then every move, being in the military, they would move with us. And we'd be like, "Mom, why do you still have these skincare products? You don't even use them, but you invest in them and you feel like, okay, well, maybe one day I will use them." And then eventually it's like, this heartbreaking moment when you finally just throw them away and you recognize that you're not going to use them. And I'll add this fun story. One time, my mom, I was like, why? Number one, why do you still have these products? And number two, why aren't they in the van with the movers? And she's like, well, we can't put them in the van with the movers because they're flammable. And I'm like, what do you mean they're flammable? She's like, well, there's ingredients in there like petroleum that are flammable. And I'm like, and you put that on your skin? And that was my sister and I's aha moment when we were like I mean, I'd say junior high, where we started reading labels because we're like, we'll never do that. And of course we did until we started developing Green Goo. And yeah, it's really refreshing to not have the clutter in my cabinets. And you'll find like the Green Goo First Aid, it replaces 20 of your traditional chemical laden products. So it's not only for cuts and scrapes, but it is your portable first aid. It takes the sting and the itch out. It slows down the bleeding, speeds up the healing. And you'll just have it around. You'll have it on your counter. You'll have it on your nightstand. The kids will have it in their backpack. And not only can the kids have the autonomy of using it themselves, they get a cut or a scrape. I mean, the Band-Aid doesn't really take the sting out, right? It's just a ritual to
Right.
buy you some time. And you can just throw them a can of Green Goo, which you would never hand them a typical OTC product, and they can apply it themselves. They get the autonomy of doing it themselves. And it actually does take the sting or the itch out, bug bites. And then you also become sort of a prescriber because someone will get, a cut or have an injury and you're like, oh, I've got Green Goo. So it's really fun. It's it's a fun brand.
Yeah. So what are the best sellers? So the Green Goo, the one that does everything. What else do you have that's like either your favorite product right now or one that is the best seller after that, or even one that you think should be the best seller and you're like, why aren't more people buying this? This one is amazing.
Oh, I love all of that. So the skin repair is our number one selling product and my favorite product that I could not live without. That's the anti-aging after sun burn and scar formula. And then the companion of the oil face wash to go with that, and then the rose serum. The product we're most known for is our first aid. So that is the portable
Okay.
first aid product. Um, the one that I think not as many people know about, and I appreciate you said something, referenced this earlier. So our Free to Breathe is a vapor rub alternative. And what we found is, of course, the traditional brands on the market are full of a lot of yuck stuff. And it's just something we've always been accustomed to using. And what we found interesting when we were studying how this product was being used is that a lot of people don't just use it for colds and coughs or allergies. They use it for an Ayurvedic practice of putting it under your feet so that you sleep better. And yet there are no medicinal properties in these traditional vapor rubs that really truly do that. Outside of, okay, if you open up your airway, you, in theory, are going to sleep better. And so what we did is we added things like Ravinsara and rosemary and lavender to have immune boosting properties and also help you sleep better. So I love, like, my daughter puts this under her nose every night. She has asthma and allergies, and she just gets frustrated as if she has a stuffy nose. I put it under my feet because I love, I'll take any sleep that I can get. And then my husband snores, so he'll put it underneath his nose before he goes to bed, and it just helps open his airway so I can fall asleep before the snoring starts in the middle of the night. And so it's just such a useful product, and I feel like so many people could just benefit from it.
Okay. That's good to hear. This when you said the vapor rub. My son's the same. He has the allergies and stuff too. So I'll put like essential oils on him at night because he likes that feeling of going to bed with like being able to breathe. I mean, that's a nice feeling,
Mhm.
being able to breathe. But
Right?
I do it too because there's something just luxurious about falling asleep and like smelling all these wonderful airway opening, relaxing scents.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's why it is a very commonly practiced Ayurvedic practice because it works. And when you combine, and that's something we do a lot with our Green Goo products, is combining sort of the mind body experience. Not only does it have a topical transdermal skin therapeutic response, but we're putting specific essential oils in there as well so that you can have aromatic experience that adds value as well. Wear the product where it makes sense. And then you just get that like mind body experience and that ritual. Like I love skincare rituals that are more pampering and self-care. And so on Sundays, one of my routines is I will butter up from head to toe with my skin repair. I might even put some of the Free to Breathe under my feet and put my slippers on, put my bathrobe on, and then I'll just sit and drink tea, maybe work a little, read a little, sit on the back porch, and just let my skin just drink it up. And then I don't need to put lotion on. I don't use any lotion. If I do that once a week, I live in Colorado. People are like going through the lotion.
Yeah.
My skin's good. Like I don't need it. It's just incredibly hydrated.
All right. That's pretty incredible. And you mentioned the word ritual. So many people have trouble sleeping. And like you talked about being tired earlier. And it's like when you can't sleep, your skin shows it. When you're tired, your skin shows it. But being able to do something that's simple, like have an evening routine, have a bedtime routine where you are washing your face, where you're putting stuff on. If you do that regularly, that also is going to be training your brain. Now's the time that we go to sleep, and you can get back in that rhythm of going to sleep. So it's kind of like this full circle thing of like getting into the routine of using the products, doing a bedtime routine. It's training your brain. It's time for bed. You're sleeping better. That's making your skin look better.
It's a great, beautiful cycle. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So, what would you say? to women, most of my women or most of my audience is women. They're juggling family, they're juggling businesses, and they want to start having their home be a source of health instead of a source of stress. And it's just trying to figure out what you can do with the least amount of effort or the biggest return and the combo of those. So what would you say to someone, your best advice to that mom who wants to create the healthier home, but is just feeling overwhelmed?
Well, I think a lot of us, when we can go through the declutter journey, we really benefit from that. And I always say you can't swallow the elephant whole. You got to take it bite by bite. And that is where I feel so passionate about the first aid closet. Start there. Open it. And you know that closet you open up and you just shut it and you're like, ugh, this represents my life. I do not want to deal. Like,
Yeah.
go in
And if you
there,
only have
purge it.
one closet, good for you.
Right, exactly. The junk drawer, all the things. So, like, go in there, clean it out, refill it, simplify it, and keep it simple. And when you kind of ground yourself in that value of, I want to keep my environment simple so that I'm not overwhelmed, think about how much time we spend maintaining the things around us. And when you eliminate a lot of that so that you can really focus on the things that matter, like more quality time with your child, who you're going to spend 80% of the time with your child between the time that they're born and the time that they leave the house. And then for the next 60 years, if you're so blessed to have that time together, is only 20% of that time. So when you start thinking about how you want to dedicate your time, that in itself, when you have the reward of exercising that and feeling really fueled from it, you feel better. And so thinking about your environment and simplifying it and find the things that really serve you. Of course, I'm biased to plants. I have plants all around me. Living around plants is just that's one of those things that I like to spend time with the plants and water them and have that time with them. It's relaxing, it's peaceful. That would be my number 2 recommendation too.
Yeah, my dream house is a jungalow.
Yeah, a jungalow. I like that. If I could turn my camera around, you would see. My husband's like, "Are we gonna be able to like keep looking out those windows soon?"
Like, whatever, we're seeing green space.
Exactly.
Okay, so where can people find your products? I know that they're in stores all over. Is it best to go find your local store, go to their website, find a place to buy them, shop online, all of the above?
Shop online is the best way to go, where you can find the breadth of products. So greengoo.com or Amazon are really the best 2 places to go.
Okay. All right. So that's good that you said Amazon because a lot of people sometimes are a little bit shy of ordering from Amazon because of like knockoff stuff, but you guys have your own dedicated store on Amazon.
We do. We have our own dedicated store and we own the brand. So you're not getting our product from a warehouse that perhaps has been sitting. This is coming straight from our personal warehouse. So we fulfill our Amazon orders
Oh,
internally.
okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It
That's
allows
fantastic.
for a lot of control over, to your point, knockoffs and just stuff sitting in a warehouse for a long period of time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I really appreciate and admire the fact that you have been able to grow and maintain your integrity with staying involved and remaining in control of the manufacturing and the distribution. I think that that's really important. And a lot of brands, when they get big, they sell. And I know it breaks our hearts, but I also know business is business, but it's great that you're hanging on.
Well, thank you. We've had a wild ride. There's some stories within the stories, but today we have our brand and we are so grateful and we have so much more work to do and we're here for the long haul.
Good. Fantastic. Anything else you want to share or mention before we sign off? Where can people find you? Do you have a personal page that people can follow or just the brand?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Jodi A. Scott and then all of our handles at Green Goo helps. And I think if I were going to leave with anything, just in terms of thinking about something that's fun to circle back to how to find this holistic experience within your home and your health. And we use this acronym a lot at home called shaman. And so S is for sleep, and H is for hydration, and A is for antioxidants, thinking about antioxidants, how you can get more of that in you, whether it's tinctures or food or vitamins or body care. M is for mindset and just really giving yourself the what is historically been considered the luxury of spending time in your personal development. And the science shows it only takes 2 minutes, 5 times a day for you to be able to have the same impact if you were to sit for an hour and meditate. So give yourself 2 minute breaks throughout the day and just really focus on being present. Put your feet on the ground, take a couple deep breaths, look at the horizon, kind of flush out those thoughts and give yourself that opportunity. And then avoid the stuff that doesn't serve you, whether it is the clutter in your house, whether it is ingredients that don't serve you or food. And sometimes it's even people, find your people, the things that you can drink up. And then N is nutrition. And these bodies this one body we've been given in this lifetime is one vehicle, really deserves the nutrition for it to do all the things that we're doing, and then you can have more joy in life. So my daughter and I use that interchangeably so that when she's just kind of making decisions, sometimes she can just kind of ground herself in that value and just be like, does it fit my paradigm? And obviously sometimes we're just going to go have treats and it is what it is. But it does really help find the things that serve you best.
I love that. I think I'm going to adopt that. I will give you credit, but I really like that because it does sum it all up in a nutshell and in a way that does not feel like it's a checklist. It's like, oh no, I could do this in a way that is actually a sigh of relief.
It's a little sustainable and it can be your North Star.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. Well, I thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I've actually really enjoyed our conversation and I'm excited to try some of the products. I like that what you have built, it really shows that health and healing and nourishment starts at home and it can maintain that nourishing flow through intention and family and having a respect for nature. So thank you so much. For those of you listening, you can connect with Jodi on LinkedIn. You can follow her on socials at Green Goo. And I will also put links in the show notes. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a treat.
Thank you.